Remember the people that gave you a reason to not be courageous? Stop taking their advice. Stop listening to the naysayers. Let go of toxic friendships and business relationships. Everyone will be so quick to tell you what a mistake you are making when you finally take the leap and you start following your passion and your dreams. And some of that is honest. They honestly want to protect you. And some of it is jealousy, because they're not ready to take this leap. So I've talked a lot about my experience, but I really wanted to hear from you guys. What is your idea of courage? Or tell me about a time that you were courageous. I will pick someone. Yay! Thank you.
Hello. Well, first of all, thank you so much for sharing your beautiful story with us. I think it was amazing. And also thank you all for coming here. It's a pleasure to meet you all. My name is Baba Jide. I'm a co-founder of one of the startups that works here in T-Rex. And listening to your story is great, and it just reminded me of how I also define courage as well. So I've come to realize that people generally, there's always a lot of crazy things that try to prevent us from moving forward, but they will always be there. I mean, that's how the world works. But I come to believe that the definition of courage, or an expression of it, has to do with recognizing that fear, that it is there, but not letting it prevent you from moving forward. And an example of how I expressed that was even starting my company with my other co-founders. So a few years ago, we started our company. It's called Makers Valley. We connect fashion designers across the world to manufacturers in Italy. And I was working as a developer for an IT company in Buenos Aires. And I had to leave my company to go work in an accelerator in Puerto Rico. And leaving my friends, leaving the people who I've come to love as family, living a beautiful experience over there, to plunge into something that I had no idea what the outcome was, but I just knew that this was something I wanted to do. And a lot of people were like, what if it doesn't work out well? All those things. But regardless, just recognizing that fear and not letting it hold you back, I think is quite crucial. So thank you.
Yeah, definitely. So you kind of had the experience I talked about with, people are warning you, but it's because they love you and they don't want to see you fail. And yeah, but if you're going to do something, you kind of just have to do it. Anyone else? I'm going to call on my dancers.
Hi, my name is Terry. Pleasure to see everyone. I'm really enjoying this fantastic conversation. I have a experience of courage where, in the end, it did not come out to what I wanted it to. Last year, I applied for this big fellowship that took just a lot of time and energy and resources, and it helped me to realize that sometimes the courage is being able to determine that you have a voice. And it's about organizing, and it's about coalescing yourself to be able to say that voice. Now, whether or not someone agrees with it or not, that may not necessarily be the point. The point for me was being able to put myself out there, and it helped me to realize what I'm capable of.
That story really resonates with me because as a nonprofit, we apply for so many grants and we get so few of them. So yeah, you have to be ready for that. Yeah, Sophia.
Hi, I am Sophia. When I was 5, my dog died. That's when I really started thinking about people and circle of life. It changed my life. My dog, he was everything to me. School started getting harder for me because everything reminded me of him. And
you're still here.
Yeah.
You made it.
And I'd always imagine him, and he got me through the hard times, and he was my courage. everything about him was my life.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't even want to have to think about what happens when Lydia and Josephine pass. Guys will have to be knocking on my door like, Miss Arica, it's time for dance class. Hello. Thank you for sharing, Sophia. Does anyone else have something they'd like to say? Yeah, thank you.
My name is Ken. Primarily, I'm a photographer. I've been working as a freelancer off and on for probably 40 years. And the adventures that Arica is describing is pretty typical to any kind of entrepreneurial effort you're going to make. It's part of the cycle. I was a driver's ed teacher for 13 years. And I thought I knew about fear until I became a driver's ed teacher. Fear is an amazing thing. It's just not the kind of fear you have when you're worried about your bills or where you're in a horror movie. It's way more subtle than that. And we all have fears, and they all come from inside. They come from things that our parents tell us. They come from things that our friends tell us. Our family and friends are probably the worst influence you will ever have because they're afraid for us or they're jealous. They really are. The thing that makes fear interesting is if something doesn't work out or there's somebody you just don't understand, somebody that just makes no sense, if you step back and approach it from a position where that person is afraid, the whole picture changes and things become crystal clear. It's not good or bad, it's just clear. You know, it's like an awakening. So take a look at fear in a different way and things will work out. Honest.
Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else? Yes. Oh my gosh, I have so many volunteers. Woo! Never getting to my last slide.
Hello, my name is Rod. I'm from St. Louis, but I've had a chance to live all over the place. And a lot of the thing for a lot of people from St. Louis, some of us here might be from St. Louis and some might be from somewhere else, is getting outside of yourself. I've had a lot of different jobs. I've studied aerospace engineering. I've worked in radio. I've been a journalist. I lived in New York. I lived in Japan. I lived in Spain. I've been a broadcaster. I've worked in IT, and I've done a whole bunch of different things. And one of the best things that I can learn, especially from what you're talking about, starting from nothing, being a dancer, going into the dance world and not starting when you're 2, which like most dancers do. They start when they're 3, and they've been doing it forever, and that's what they do. That's a certain amount of courage as well. But going back to when you're 3 years old, when you're starting a business or trying to start something new is an important thing. I taught English in Japan, and I'd learn other languages as well. And what a lot of people forget is when you're 3 years old and you're running around, you don't know how to speak anything. 3-year-old in any country can barely speak their language. They make mistakes all the time, and they don't care. They get corrected, they change it, and keep moving. They keep changing, they move on, they build on it, and they keep going. And they're not afraid. There's no fear there, and they have the courage. They don't even know they have. They just keep going and get it done. But one thing is common I've seen across the world is people get older, and even when you're 6 years old, I'm a big kid. I know something now. I'm better. I'm a big kid. And you hold on to that because you're secure with it, and you don't want to be a little kid. You know, if you're 8 years old, you don't want to be with the little kids. You want to make sure that you know something. But getting broken down and trying to learn something new and to expand your horizons, and whether you recognize it as courage or not when you're doing it, I think is something that's very important to do. And if we're all creatives in this room, I think you put yourself out there and try to remember to learn something new. It takes a certain amount of courage to not know anything. I went from being a broadcaster here in St. Louis, getting paid to speak, write, and read, and took an 18-hour flight to go to Tokyo where I was illiterate, ill-reader-it, ill-writer-it, ill-speaker-it. I didn't even know how to eat. I didn't know how to use chopsticks yet. After I learned, I had to learn, and you had to learn how to break it down so that you actually move forward. and it can be done. Whether you're totally successful or not, I started a business. It was in the middle of the worst recession ever. It wasn't a great time to start, but I tried to learn from those things, and I went down back to where I started and then tried to take everything I knew and move forward with it. If you have your business, if you're trying to be creative, even if it's just on one project, don't be afraid to not know something. Go into it with what you have in the bank, because that's the advantage you have over from when you've been 3 years old. But then move forward. Be willing to be wrong. Be willing to not know what you're doing. And that takes a lot of courage to start a business when you don't know what you're doing. You're going to UMSL, taking their first classes, and you're ancient by dance standards, but not by human being standards, and try to learn and move forward with that. Anybody in here could do it, and that's a certain amount of courage that everybody in here has. Don't be afraid to go be 3. Because being 3 is fun. They have fun. They just do it and learn it. Think about that. And that takes a lot of courage.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Let me come back again. Something I've noticed with a lot of clients and suppliers is the game that you're trying to play is too small. You need to play a much bigger game. We've got the internet. In the 80s, when I had photography studios in downtown Chicago, we didn't have the distribution that you have now. So you can go anywhere you want. I did a gallery from 2003 to 2008. We ended up in 14 countries back in 2003, 2008. All of it was done on public library computers. So, I mean, you can do big stuff. You just have to put your mind to it, and don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it, because you can't.
Hi, I'm Carrie. So in 2009, my husband and I were working in an architecture firm. He's in architecture, I'm in design, and we were going through a terrible economy. We were both laid off. We had a home, 2 cars, 2 kids, one with special needs, one who we were paying for her education. And sometimes you have courage, and sometimes courage just finds you. And I think that it's just a matter of taking that first step. So we started our business, a design firm, and that summer we had 15 projects, and we were trying to figure out how to hire people and make things happen for us. Since then, we've opened 2 more businesses, and you're right, it hasn't always been easy. There were times when we had to ask my daughter, can we borrow money from your college fund so that we can pay our employee this week? There were very, very scary times. But you know what? If you take that first step, that's the biggest thing. Just make it happen.
Thank you so much.